Howdy ho, good neighbors. Just when I thought I was out, they drag me back in. I'm talking, of course, about the subject of race, or the status of black women in the United States, the status of black people in general in the United States. I'm sure many of you are familiar about the recent flap, the recent falderall, brought about by someone who will remain nameless, but I know that you'll all know who I'm referring to, who said that black women are undesirable, any man who wants to be with them is a failure or seen as a failure, and talking about how chaotic black neighborhoods are in general. And there have been many responses made, many comments posted to responses. What sticks out in my mind, what stayed with me, was how many people are saying that this person is right. That there are so many problems in the black community. Well, she spoke a lot of truth. She said a lot of truth, but she just said it wrong. That sort of thing. That just kind of sticks right about here with me. The assumption that it's true that black people are bad, worse. There are just so many problems, just insurmountable, in the black community, among black people, black women in particular. And I'm not trying to tell you that black people aren't perceived as the pariah of American society. What I'm trying to tell you is there is no good reason for it. There is this assumption, okay, as I've stated, there is this assumption that black people are the worst. So many non-blacks will look out in their daily lives and make that so. No matter what a black person does, it is seen as worse than anyone else doing the very same thing. Any other race, any other ethnicity, even any other creed, when a black person does it, the very same thing, possibly not even as bad as other groups, it is perceived as worse when a black person does it. And what gets me, what sticks in my craw, is that black people go along with it. That black people are co-signing that, to coin a phrase. Black people, yeah, you know, black people are really bad, and black people do have a higher percentage of out-of-wedlock births, and black people really are criminals, and black people just, everything bad that can be attributed to the human condition, black people do it worse, have it worse. I've noticed that if someone says something strongly, with conviction, it becomes accepted as the truth, no matter what the truth actually is. And I'm hoping that everyone will see, when you look out in your daily life, as when I look out in my daily life, when I look at my family, I do not see a disproportionate amount of crime. I don't see chaotic neighborhoods. I see people just going to work every day, paying their bills, providing for their families, just like everybody else. Nothing's worse. That is my reality. I'm sorry, I can't help what is reported to you in mass numbers in the media. I'm trying to tell you, look for yourself. Do you see all of this bad stuff in your family? I don't see it in mine. I don't see it in my neighborhood. I see everyone just going about their daily lives, just trying to live, just buying cars, having kids, going to work, paying the bills, and all doing it, and doing all of it lawfully, without incident. That's what I see. Let me tell you about an experiment that was done in the 60s that maybe will shed some light on this, on what I believe is happening. There is a woman named Jane Elliott, and you can look her up online. You can look at her up here on YouTube. She did an experiment after Martin Luther King was assassinated. There were when she was a school teacher, and when her students were coming to class, and she was asking them their perceptions of what had happened, she was getting all negative responses about, those people over there, that sort of thing. And so she decided to do an experiment, and these were white kids, and she divided the class up by those who had brown eyes and those who had blue eyes. And she told the children that the ones with blue eyes were smarter. The ones with brown eyes, did I say blue eyes? The ones with the brown eyes were smarter than the kids with blue eyes. And she discouraged them from associating with the children with the blue eyes, or the blue-eyed children. She discouraged them from associating with the children with the brown eyes. They weren't encouraged to associate. And do you know, in short order, there was some resistance in the beginning, but in short order, the brown-eyed children, and she told them that the melanin in their systems that made the children have brown eyes made them smarter. Do you know that in very short order, the brown-eyed children became bossy, arrogant, and mistreated their blue-eyed classmates? And they started doing better in class. Even the ones who hadn't been doing well started doing better in class. And the blue-eyed students started doing poorly in class. And I'm not sure how of a time, maybe a day or two, she switched it around. I'm sorry, what'd you say? 1 day. Okay, one day she switched it around and told the blue eyes that they were smarter. And the blue eyes started performing better, and they became the arrogant, bossy ones. What I'm trying to suggest to you is, on a national level, that is what has happened with black people. It has been repeated so many times with such force, with such conviction, that not only do non-blacks believe it, but black people believe it too. Everyone disregards all the good things they see. The people just, as I've stated, just going to work every day, paying their bills, getting their car registered, having insurance up for their car, working toward a pension, retiring. They disregard all the just normal things that black people do, just normal everyday things black people do, and pinpoint, zero in on any time any black person does anything bad, that becomes the worst thing anyone could ever possibly do in this world, and all black people do it, and all black people are worse than everyone else. So I'm not trying to tell anyone that black people are perfect and never do anything wrong. I'm trying to tell you that black people don't do it any worse. I don't care. Like I say, I can't explain except the media is slanted, and it has its agenda. And social mores being what they are, someone benefiting from privilege is not likely to give it up without a fight. So all those things working together keep the status quo, maintain the status quo. And in any population, in any race, and I'm including the human race, the men have the power and the women are seen as lower. And like I say, I'm including the entire human race here. So any given race, the men have the power and the women are seen as lower, less powerful, more vulnerable. So I'm suggesting that this rant on black women, this war on black women, is just these insecure people who have their agendas, trying to keep not only black people down, and these, I know, and like I say, what I can't get over is black people doing it too, but specifically black women. I promise you that any racial differences you observe are just skin deep. You see this? That doesn't penetrate to my brain. That doesn't determine my propensity for crime. It doesn't determine my propensity to have children without being married. That comes, if it were true, and I still maintain that it's not true, but if it were true, that comes from socialization. There is no greater propensity for any race to have more problems innately. Have you ever noticed how any illness that is ever reported on, black people have it worse? Or it's always reported that black people have it worse. Black people have a higher incidence of high blood pressure. Black people have a higher incidence of uterine fibroids. Black people have a higher incidence of cooties. I mean, just everything. Anyway, I think I've said all I can say. I know that I'm no one to you. You don't know my background. You don't know much about me. But I hope you will listen to your old Auntie Dusky Hued, because she is a student of human behavior, and she has observed this, and she has done her research, and she knows it to be true. Let me know what you think.